That's right, Golden Guardians beat Evil Geniuses in 3 straight games, making it look easy out there to advance to the semi-finals-ish to compete against FlyQuest to see who will take on Cloud9 in the LCS Spring 2023 final. And so let's just talk about the games, let's talk about the matches, and then my overall takeaway from the whole thing. And then we'll sprinkle in a few other things that I want to mention before we say goodbye. From the start of the series, Golden Guardians looked like the better team. From draft to destroying the Nexus, there really didn't seem like there was a moment, with the exception of the early part of game 1 where Evil Geniuses had a 2,000 gold lead. They had Rift Herald, they were making moves, and then they lost Dragon. And I'm specifically not showing you guys this play right now because if you want to go look it up, you can, but I want to make a video a little bit later about this specific play and how sometimes the casters, or when we're watching plays, we don't really understand why things are being done, because there was something in this play that was missed or that was really misspoken that I think was the real reason that Golden Guardians won this game and then led on to winning the series. But each game seemed to have its own little flair to it, right? Game 1 had an incredible play that turned around the game from a multiple 1,000 gold difference for Golden Guardians to win. Game 2 had a very smart drafting decision from Golden Guardians. Now, if you've watched my games, if you've watched my streams, my VODs, everything like that, you'll know that I really don't believe in draft differences. I think skill, no matter on which champion, will trump all, especially on the professional level. I think I'm kind of in the minority there, but I'll still believe that moving forward. But game number 2, Golden Guardians did have a sort of trick play, drafting Tristana to make it look like she was going to go in the mid lane, only to turn around and put her in the bot lane with Stixay, who Stixay, by the way, had a dominated series. He only died 1 time and he got 16 kills. He had more kills individually in the series than the entire team of Evil Geniuses. On that note, the entire series itself took less than 1 hour and 21 minutes of in-game playtime. That is crazy. That is the average length it takes to play 1 bronze game in North America. And then game 3 was just much of the same. Game 3 was another Tristana game, and it was another game where the Golden Guardians did something really unique, which I think will be looked at in the future, is they didn't really pick a mid laner to beat JoJo. They picked a mid laner to defeat, like to not to defeat, but to stifle JoJo, right? JoJo couldn't play anything. JoJo was playing like a Callista versus a Cassante. Like, you're never going to be able to do anything against him. And Golden Guardians, I think, knew that's what their plan was, and that was their strategy, and they looked really, really good. As someone who was rooting for Evil Geniuses, it does kind of suck that they lost and they're out of the tournament before they could even get to the finals. However, there is a few things to take away from. Number 1, it's opening your eyes to how good the other teams in this league are in retrospect to the rest of the league, right? Golden Guardians was the 6th seed. Golden Guardians was 9-9 coming into the playoffs, right? They were not a favorite. They've never been a favorite in the playoffs. They were supposed to lose to 100 Thieves. They were supposed to lose to Evil Geniuses. And now they get to compete against the top 2 teams in the league and see how they fare against them. It's a really cool thing to see, and I'm excited to see how well they do against a team like FlyQuest. But on the opposite side of that, if you're a fan of Evil Geniuses and you're ready to hit the panic button, just pump the brakes a little bit, because there's one specific argument that I can already see people are going to make, and I want to nip it in the butt now so I can say I put out my take before anyone else. Now, one interesting take I've seen about Evil Geniuses over the last few days leading up to the series was that if they still had Danny as their ADC, they would have somehow been this magical, way better team in the league. And I'm here to tell you that that's just not true. Now, if you think back to last season when Danny was on the team in the active ADC, in the spring split, they did the exact same 10-9 that they did this split. And individually, FBI did, not even arguably, just statistically, he had a better performance in the split than Danny did. Now, of course, the playoffs is completely different, where they went on and they were able to win the playoffs, and they were able to go to MSI, and they did very well. However, the counterpart of that is it wasn't even until the end of summer where the problems started to happen with Danny, and the problems started to arise with him struggling, having mental issues, being homesick was the rumors, them subbing him out and not being able to perform. So we don't have this 5, 6, 7 year length mark where you can definitively say that Danny would have done better. They had the same record that they did in spring split, Individually, performance-wise in the split, FBI did better than Danny, and they just didn't perform properly in the playoffs. That's really the only difference. Now, I will say in this series alone, it was a huge mistake to let FBI play with Zeri all 3 games. It's a champion that he only played twice throughout the entire 19 split season of spring, and he had a 1-1 record with her, and then you allow him to play her in this kind of a situation. I don't know why. Theirs was banned all games, but he still had the Lucian and the Aphelios, who he was doing arguably better than he did with Zeri all split. So that's a little bit of confusion for me, but nevertheless, Evil Geniuses split. They're done. They're kaput. I don't think they should change anything. I think they should just keep their team the way they are, get more scrims in practice. They'll be fine. Now, Golden Guardians has a huge task as they go up against FlyQuest next week. We will have a specific video dedicated for that, as this is more the recap of the series. But I'm super excited. I do expect FlyQuest to win, and the final will be FlyQuest and C9. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. Who do you guys think is going to win? What did you think of this series? Do you agree or disagree with the Danny FBI comparison? Where do you guys stand?